Yesterday, I saw a story on the CNN Money website that caught my attention, and I felt that I should discuss it with you guys today. Now, the title of this story was Kids of Color Should Be Talking About Toys, Not Politics. Now, in my brief existence on this world, whenever you hear someone use the word color when describing people, 9 times out of 9 they're talking about the African American population. But the interesting thing about this story is that 99% of the information in this story has little to absolutely nothing to do with African American people and has everything to do with immigration. But before I give you my thoughts and opinions on this, let's just dive right into this story. So it starts off by saying how legal immigrants are afraid of their safety and that this fear comes from the psychological trauma many black, brown, refugee, and Muslim children have faced since the election in November. I'm like, election in November? Well, also the article talks about how Muslims have been bullied and are afraid that they might be sent back to their home country or their parents' home country. It also describes President Trump's policies as extreme vetting of Muslims and Mexicans by deporting or banning them from coming to this country and by building a wall at the U.S.-Mexican border. And that this is all done because of a perceived fear of immigrants being terrorists, rapists, or people who steal jobs from American citizens. School faculty members are stating that kids are internalizing their feelings and that schools are making sure that campuses are free of harassment, bullying, and discrimination. They are also saying that there's a heightened anxiety on the part of these marginalized students, including immigrants, Muslims, African Americans, and LGBT students, which can lead to issues with impulse control and substance abuse and interfere with academic achievement in the long term, and that these students will be less likely to graduate. And as a result of Trump's policies, these kids of color can start to feel disconnected like misfits. Now, the one part of this story to where they can actually tie in the plight of African American kids is one sentence that starts off like black parents often have to have the talk with their kids about how to interact and deal with police officers. Now immigrants have to teach their kids how to avoid conflicts themselves, like making sure they have birth certificates and ID cards handy at all times. And then it closes by saying that some kids have experienced headaches, nausea, anxiety, sadness, and other psychosomatic feelings since the ban was implemented. So my question is, where in this article does it discuss any added issues for the black community? People want to say that, well, Trump is trying to build this wall to keep out Mexicans and are trying to deport Muslims and keep them out of the country. So he hates black people. And I'm like, huh? That's like, what do those two issues have to do with African American people? Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump is or isn't racist, but if he isn't any worse than any other president that we had before him. But my point is, like I stated in previous videos, is again, do not get sucked in to other people's issues. I mean, like, where were the Mexicans, the Indians, the Native Americans when we're fighting for the mistreatment of black people, whether it be the disproportionate gap between the distribution of educational funds between rich people and the not so rich people? Or were they at where we're trying to close the wage gap, the 30% wage gap between white workers and African American workers in some fields? I recall a quote from the classic movie Boys in the Hood and Furious Styles when he told Trey, "My heart goes out to his family, but that's their problem. You my son. You my problem." In other words, we have to, again, focus on our own issues. And we can start with the education or miseducation of our own kids. Now, I know we've all heard the studies that 91% of white kids between the age of 3 and 5 are read to at least 3 nights a week, compared to 78% for black kids. Now, whether this is true or not, I don't know. I'm not a real big proponent of statistics, but just to say that it is, this disparity can be alleviated real simply by one, getting your child a library card, allow them to pick out books that you can read to them. If you got means of transportation, go to a half-price bookstore. They got books at a very reasonable price. You even got books that you can buy for pennies at Amazon.com. I know because I have bought plenty of books with African American authors and characters from all these places for very cheap. And if you as a parent feel that you don't have enough time to read to them every night, or maybe you don't feel that your reading skills are up to par, they have audiobooks. And you'd be surprised how much kids enjoy audiobooks just as much as they enjoy you read. Well, I think they probably enjoy you reading to them more. But if you can't, audiobooks are perfect, and they can rewind, play it every night, 5 times a night, 7 nights a week, and you'll be knocking out what they say, killing 2 birds with 1 stone by having them not only occupied, but occupied with something with educational value. But just that small investment alone will benefit and pay off for a lifetime for your child and for yourself, because it gives them the mindset to always want to read, to always want to learn, and it keeps their brain learning and growing and always moving. And I can go on and on with statistics that just pretty much show you that your child is getting a far worse education than white children and Asian children or anybody that lives in high class suburbia or high class part of the inner city. But that would just be complaining. And then we'll go back into waiting to see what the government or the system would do for us when we could pretty much do for ourselves by, like I said, one, encouraging, teaching, promoting, reading in your family to your children. Two, you can learn anything on the internet. You just got to be careful which websites you go to. But you can go to YouTube. You can learn any language you want to learn. You can learn a bunch of stuff about history, math, science, whatever subject that you feel your child needs to learn. There are plenty of free videos on YouTube where people have tutorials to teach any child to learn anything. I say nowadays, kids have no reason to be failing in class in any subject if they have any access to the internet or Wi-Fi anywhere. And I'm pretty sure that the majority of the places that they go, they can find an internet connection to where they can go online and be self-taught. But we as parents have to put it in their head to push them to want to go and learn and to not fail. And another option that a lot of people you may not consider, but I know a few who have, is homeschooling your own children. Now, you may think you have to jump through a bunch of hoops to be able to homeschool your child, but here in the state of Texas, state requirements are as simple as the instruction must be bona fide, the curriculum must be in visual form, as in books, workbooks, or video monitor, and the curriculum must include the 5 basic subjects of reading, spelling, grammar, mathematics, and good citizenship. And that's it. Beyond that, I'm sure that you can probably get with maybe 4 or 5 parents or legal guardians in the neighborhood. I'm sure y'all could get together and form your own little coalition, little homeschooling group, and y'all can teach kids in the neighborhood the way y'all know they need to be taught, instead of complaining that they're not getting a good education at school, they're not being treated right, they keep getting in trouble, getting kicked out by the white teachers and the white principals over something silly in kindergarten, things of that nature. Instead of complaining, do something about it. Do something yourself. Teach your own child. Or if you hadn't thought about it, you can also research some of these private schools. There are privately black-owned schools out there, and see if you can get financial aid. There is a lot of financial aid for kids to go to private schools in the country. A lot of us don't know about it. Sometimes you have to know somebody who can get you in or who can tell you the information. But truly, it's out. The information is out there. And all it really takes is a phone call from you, and the worst they can tell you is no. That's the worst they can do. They say, no, we don't have any money for your child, or no, your child doesn't qualify for any kind of assistance. Okay, fine. Then you move on to the next person. But complaining and continue to complain gets nothing done. What does the Bible say? Faith without works is dead. I mean, you have to get out and do anything. You can't rely on other people to help you out. And you sure in the heck can't go out fighting other people's battles thinking that once you're done helping them, they're going to come over and help you, because as you have seen over the last 400 or 500 years, we haven't got the total help that we asked for or we thought that we deserved. I'm sure we deserve all the reparations and all the jobs and the 40 acres and a mule, but let's just be honest with ourselves. They're not going to hand that to us, not easily and not no time soon. So until that happens, we got to get out and do our own thing to build our own communities up. And I believe it starts with education. Okay, that's all I have for right now. Just ask you to, again, subscribe to the page. You can like or dislike the video, make comments, share it with people that you know, but let's just build up our community the way we know we should. Until next time, peace.